Hello BrawlerNet, welcome to Brawl Theory, the show where Brawl nerds like myself dive into the lore behind Brawl Stars. In the last Brawl Theory video, I talked about how the overarching theme around Brawl Stars is a theme park. If you haven't watched it already, do yourself a favor and make sure you do it because there is a lot of evidence supporting that theory. But in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Brawlers themselves and their relationships with each other. Now the first thing we're going to do is clear up which Brawlers are in trios and which trios still have not yet been completed. That's actually going to be a huge hint for which Brawlers are going to be added into the game in the future. The second thing we're going to do is talk about the confirmed relationships in Brawl Stars, including a little bit of Piper and Rico romance. And lastly, I'm going to speculate on some relationships that are not technically confirmed that I am fairly certain are actually part of Brawl Stars lore. Make sure you use code Kairos to support videos like this and subscribe for more Brawl Stars videos. Now, it's been known for a while that Paul, the lead designer of the Brawlers in the game, is creating trios of Brawlers that go together. And it's becoming very clear that each trio belongs to a certain part of the Brawl Stars theme park. In order to talk about the Brawlers relationships though, we first need to clear up some misunderstandings when it comes to which Brawlers belong to each trio, as well as which trios are still not complete. The very first trio put in the game was way back before the game was ever even in beta, and that was the Wild West trio. This included Shelly, Colt, and Spike, who belong in the cactus-filled desert environment. This environment is the longest remaining remnants from the beta and has not seen much change, unlike some other environments like the gem mine that has been remodeled to fit the theme park theme a little bit better. Because of this, I'm guessing that Supercell's eventually going to improve it to include like maybe some like sheriff's office or like this Ferris wheel that will be a little bit more fitting for the game. Now this trio is actually the only trio that was completed when the game was first released in beta over 3 years ago. The second trio to be completed was the Shaman family trio, including Nita, Bo, and Leon, and that happened with the global release of the game when Leon was put in. As far as I'm aware, these three don't currently belong to any environment, but they actually might not get their own theme, since I actually think that they're just like a family visiting the Brawl Stars theme park. It wouldn't be surprised if Brawl Stars did or did not create a theme for them either way. The third trio to be completed was the Retropolis trio, including Bull, Crow, and BB, who obviously belong to the Retropolis environment, with Bull's Diner and Mr. Bat's Home Run Ride. Next was the Pirate trio, including Daryl, Penny, and Tick, who belong in Daryl's pirate ship environment. I think it's pretty obvious why these three go together. After that was the Arcade trio, including Brock, Rico, and 8-Bit, who belong in the arcade environment, as you can tell from 8-Bit's arcade, Rico's bounce house, and Brock's place. Next is the Mystic trio that includes Tara, Jean, and Sandy, who belong in Tara's Bazaar. Here's Tara's fortune telling, Sandy's flying mattress ride, and Jean's Lamporium gift shop. Now the Undead trio was completed with Mortis, Frank, and Ems, who belong in the Mortis's mortuary environment. It's obviously Mortis's mortuary. Frank comes there to play music, and you'll actually see some of Ems's hairspray lying around here as well. The next trio to be completed was the Miner trio, including Dynamite, Carl, and Jackie, and that was actually confirmed to be the Miner trio in the Brawl Talk that Jackie was released in. They obviously belong in the gem mine environment where Dynamite's roller coaster is. Sprout completed the Jungle trio, including Rosa, Bee, and Sprout, and this is not confirmed, but I believe that they belong in this jungle temple themed area that was recently brought back into the game. The last trio to be completed was the Junker family trio, which includes Jessie, Pam, and Nani. There's no hard proof that they belong to any environment, but I think it's pretty clear that they belong to the security and like the storage facility with all of the robot parts and hangars for them to like work on robots and animatronics for the park. We still have 8 other Brawlers that are not in a completed trio yet though. There's the Mexican duo, including El Primo and Poco, who I do not believe have any environments yet. There's the Old Town duo, including Barley and Piper. They belong in this Old Town environment that includes Barley's bar and a gift shop that maybe Piper possibly runs. There's also a Snow Hotel duo, including Mr. P and Gale, who don't have an environment yet. My guess is that that's going to be coming this December update. And finally, there is a superhero duo, including Max and Surge. They belong in the Super City environment that was recently added to the game, as we can see here with them overlooking the city. And this means that sometime in the future, we are going to get another superhero brawler for Max and Surge, a snow-themed brawler for Mr. P and Gale, an Old Town brawler for Barley and Piper, and a Mexican-themed brawler for Poco and El Primo. I also wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of tropical island themed brawlers to fit the island and beach themes that we already have in the game. And I also think there's a really good chance we're going to get other brawlers that fit different themes that haven't been put into the game yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get some sort of evil villain brawlers. I could also see Supercell adding a prehistoric trio, and I would not be surprised at all to see a futuristic space trio. In fact, here are some brawler concepts for back when Brawl Stars was originally a space themed game before it was released released in beta. Now that we've covered the foundation of how these brawlers are connected, it is time for us to talk about the relationships that are actually confirmed in the Brawl Stars universe before we then talk about my theories. First is the most well-known relationship, and that is between Pam and Jessie. They are mother and daughter, confirmed by Supercell. Now, I don't remember the exact source because it was said so long ago, but this was confirmed clear back when the game was in beta. They are mother and daughter, but we don't know who Jessie's father is. I've seen a lot of people that speculate that Bull is Jessie's father, but I think that it's a lot more likely that her father would have red hair, since being a redhead is actually a recessive trait, and that means that if Bull was Jessie's father, Jessie would most likely have dark hair. I mean, it's not impossible that Bull could be Jessie's father, but I think that her father is not in the game yet. I do have a theory that if he does get put into the game, he's going to complete the Old Town trio with Barley and Piper. The second relationship that is confirmed is between Leon and Nita. These two are confirmed to be brother and sister. I'm sure you've noticed that Leon calls out to Nita in a few of his voice lines, but we actually knew that they were siblings way back before Leon even ever had a voice. Frank confirmed it in an interview with Apple that they are indeed siblings. We don't know which one is older or younger, but the fact that Leon calls out for Nita would suggest to me that Nita's actually like the older sister there to kind of like help protect her little brother. As for who their father and mother are, I believe that Bo is the father, not just because they all fit together in the same trio, but because they have the same color skin, and I kind of feel like it just sort of makes sense. They also just go around like not wearing any shoes or anything like that, which you don't have to be family to do that, but you know, whatever it takes to connect them. As for their mother, I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think that role belongs to B. B's skin color is certainly different, and she might be too young to be their mother, maybe, depending on how you age her, but I did make this connection because she also dresses up as some type of an animal. It's actually an insect, but still, and she could be a good fit for this family. The third confirmed relationship in the game is between Mortis and Ems. Before Ems was released, Supercell confirmed that Mortis is Ems's uncle. That means that one of Ems's parents is the brother or sister to Mortis. Now, who that is, well, the only other two brawlers that are undead are Frank and Poco, and I don't think Poco is Ems's father because the next confirmed relationship is that Ems has a crush on Poco. If you look closely at Ems's phone, you'll actually notice that Poco is actually on her background wallpaper. Also, Brawl Stars released this image on Brawl Stars' first birthday, and you'll notice that Ems is looking at Poco with heart eyes, and there's actually other stuff that has also been released as well. We don't actually know if they are dating, but we do know that she at least has the hots for Poco. So that at least rules Poco out as Ems's relative. And that is why I think that Frank is Ems's father. And that actually makes a lot of sense because in this animation right here, you have Mortis and Frank who are acting a lot like brothers. They get into fights over the dishes, they pick on each other, and also they seem to be like living with each other, which would make sense to their brothers. They could technically just be roommates or something like that, but you know, I'm going with brothers. Now, as for Ems's mother, I don't think that she's in the game yet. The last relationship that I'm aware of, other than like Mr. P and Gale working together and B being Rose's assistant, is that Piper and Rico are dating. The first confirmation of this happened in the pirate-themed Brawler Days update that we had last December. Most of the time, this is what the top of Daryl's ship environment looks like. But during the Christmas season, if there is a Rico and Piper playing in the same match, a mistletoe actually would appear. And if you did not know, kissing under the sprigs of mistletoe is a holiday tradition in many cultures, but that's not all of the proof for their affection for one another. In the recent Sugar and Spice animation, you actually see Piper blow Rico a kiss, and then she blows him up, but you know, that's just Brawl Stars for you. But those two pieces of evidence tell me that it is confirmed that Piper and Rico are dating. Now, this is a really interesting relationship that I believe actually stems from Coach Flapjack, who's a fan artist who's been creating fan art for the game ever since it was first in beta. He put the two brawlers together and did a lot of fan art for it, and it looks like the developers decided to run along with this as actual lore within the game. As a side note, one funny piece of Brawl Stars history was this image that was put into the game during the Brawl Stars' first Valentine's Day back when it was in beta. Basically, Piper got cards from Crow, Spike, and in the lower left-hand corner, that's one from Poco, but she's clearly decided that she's going to date Rico instead. Now, to my knowledge, those are all of the confirmed relationships in Brawl Stars. If you believe that I missed something, then please let me know, but also make sure you include a link to the source so that I can actually check it out. Now let's talk about relationships that are not confirmed that I believe to be part of Brawl Stars lore. First off, are 4 robot brawlers that I believe are brothers, are siblings. Nani's a girl. First is Nani, who I'm like 99% convinced was created by Pam to be the nanny for Jessie when she was young. I've seen people suggest that Peep is actually like a baby monitor for Nani to be able to keep a watch on Jessie, and that would actually make a lot of sense that Nani, or some people call her Nanny, is a Nanny. In fact, here's a Nani and Peep concept artwork that was created by Paul, who actually created Nani, and this would actually suggest that this is true since Nani is wearing like an apron, kind of looks like a little bit like a maid or a nanny, right? I also believe that Pam created Rico, Daryl, and Barley as well. I think she created Rico to play with Jessie when she was a little bit older, you know, kind of wanted to have somebody to play with, and I think that she made Barley to serve her and her friends some drinks. Now, I'm not 100% certain what Daryl was made for, but I believe that Penny actually took Pam's initial design and repurposed him to fit her own pirate crew later on. Nani, Rico, Daryl, and Barley all have very similar characteristics that make me think that they are all originally created by Pam. Not only do their arms look similar aside from Nani's left arm, but they all have a single circular eyepiece, which makes me view them as siblings. I especially believe this because the other robots in the game clearly look different. I believe that Penny created Tick to complete her pirate crew, which would also kind of make Tick and Daryl stepbrothers or something like that. I believe that Max created Surge, or maybe had some help from Pam and Jessie or something like that to make Surge, since they're both powered by energy drink. You know, Pam needed a little bit of help fighting monsters. And I would not be surprised if the third superhero brawler to complete the trio was actually another robot powered by energy drink as well. As for 8-Bit and Carl, I'm not entirely sure who made them. I don't believe that they were made by anyone currently in the game, unless of course Pam and Jessie decided to like make some bots that don't look similar and don't have similar characteristics and features. Up next is the plant family. Now I believe that Bee and Rosa combined their experience with botany and entomology to create Sprout. When Sprout was first released, Brawl Stars released this image, and you're gonna notice that Bee's hand was the one that put Sprout's sticky note on the incubator. And when Sprout trips, you see Rosa and Bee looking worried like their experiment failed or something. In fact, it looks like Bee's holding some sort of papers in her hand, like some scientific notes or something. And I think it's really safe to assume that Bee and Rosa created Sprout, but I don't actually think that Sprout was their first success. I believe that Spike was their first creation long before they ever created Sprout. Somehow they were successfully transform a ground-bound cactus into a moving, living creature that loves hugs. And now it actually makes Spike and Sprout siblings, with Bee and Rosa as their parents. But I don't think that's Rosa's entire family. When Rosa was first released, before I heard her voice, I was convinced that Shelly was her daughter. They've both got purple hair, similar colored skin, but Shelly speaks Spanish and Rosa sounds British. I'm still convinced though that Shelly's mother is Rosa and her father is El Primo. My theory is that after Shelly was born, Rosa left their family in order for her to pursue her dreams of creating life from plants, and that left El Primo to raise Shelly by himself, which is why she speaks Spanish despite having purple hair like Rosa. I also would not be surprised to find out that Poco was actually El Primo's grandfather come back from the dead, which would make Poco Shelly's great-grandfather. But then we gotta ask the important question, who is raising Poco, Ems, Mortis, and Frank all back from the dead? There's only one brawler it could be, guys. It's Gene. That's right, guys. Gene is abusing his genie powers to bring back brawlers from the dead. And when he's not doing that, he puts on a penguin suit to act as Mr. P. Now, I know that many people pair up Colt as Jessie's brother, but if I remember correctly, it has been confirmed that he is not Pam's son. If anything, I think Colt could be Pam's little brother. I know there's a lot of evidence to suggest it, like Pam says, "Come to mama," and Colt says, "I want my mommy." And I cannot remember the source for this, so I could be wrong, but I think that they are actually not related. In fact, Colt's hair doesn't really look red so much as it looks like kind of pink. However, I would not be surprised if Colt's mom was introduced in the game because of his voice lines. Now, I believe that Sandy and Tara are siblings since they have similar skin color, as well as the same color of purple hair, not to mention they're in the same trio. Now, I think that BB is Bull's younger sister since they're both from the same trio, and they also have tough personalities and wear leather jackets. However, I have no idea where Crow comes from. And then, of course, as the oldest two brawlers in the game that are actually alive, I can only assume that Dynamite and Gale are brothers or friends or something like that. There's a good chance they're not related at all. And I do not have any idea if Jackie and Piper are related to anyone, though I do think it would be really funny if foul-mouthed Jackie was actually proper Piper's daughter. Now, obviously these speculations are not complete. Some of them might already be proven wrong, but I do think that some of them are legitimately part of Brawl Stars' lore, especially Spike and Sprout being brothers, Nani being Jessie's nanny, and Gene bringing a bunch of brawlers back up from the dead. But hey, that's just a theory, a brawl theory. Thanks for watching, and use code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop.
Kairos, code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop.